Hello, everyone. Welcome to Development Palates. I am Aaron Loomis, coming to you from the Ventura Cigar Company studio, and with me, as always, is Jiunn Liu. How you doing, Jiunn?
Doing good.
And today we also have Seth Geis with us. How you doing, Seth?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
So today we are talking about the Montecristo Epic Craft Cured Toro. The cigar is 6-inch by 52 ring gauge, comes out of the Plasencia factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper is 2006 Nicaraguan Rosado Oscuro. Binder and filler are both listed as Nicaraguan. Price point is $15.75, and the cigar was released in December of 2017. So with that out of the way, Jiunn, what was your smoking experience like?
It was good. It was actually really good. So first third got toasted bread, got like a baking spicing to it. Something to note about the cigars, some cigars noticeably dry out my palate. This cigar was actually quite opposite of that. It was more like a mouth-watering kind of experience. Not a lot of water had to be sipped on, which I always enjoy. So the cigar really shined within the second third for me. I thought the flavors were more focused. It was fuller, still giving me that same like mouth-watering flavor kind of a profile. The toasted bread, baking spices, some dried nuttiness came in, aged wood, and that aged wood lingered on quite a bit, like minutes on end. On retrohaling cigar, got dark chocolate, black pepper, dried nuts. Strength was kind of trying to edging towards that medium full mark, whereas the first third was just solid medium, body being medium. And the last third is kind of where the nicotine started really kicking into medium full. Gave me a bit of a head buzz, but it was still a tasty cigar, just not as focused and full of flavor as the second third for me. In terms of construction, I rated the burn to be subpar, which it's pretty bad when it's one notch below our average score. I felt like it was just all over the place. I mean, the burn was a mess. 3 major touch-ups. It was always an uneven burn, but the good part of it was the burning temp was cool, and the cigar burned pretty slow. In terms of draw, overall good, a little bit snug, but not a big deal.
How about you, Seth? What was your smoking experience like for this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first third I thought really delivered some really good flavors. I thought there was this like walnut, and it was woody, and there was mineral and earth qualities. There was some spice, there was some white pepper with that. It was really enjoyable, and I found it to be actually really balanced. I'd say medium on all categories. Sorry, I got a cat on my shoulder. But then, in the first half of the second third, it showed a lot of those same characteristics, which were really enjoyable. And then it just really went downhill, and it started losing a lot of the pepperness, the pepper qualities, the nuttiness, the wood. It just really was showing this mineral and earthy quality, and it just became really bitter and sour right at the end. So it just, it was good for like the first, I just want to say first half maybe, and then it just went downhill after that. But in terms of construction, unlike Jiunn, mine was, I thought, rolled really well. Nice draw. I thought it was, a little bit snug, but that's where I like it. Smoked cool. I would say I just found it to be a solid medium body flavor, strength throughout. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it had a pretty interesting flavor profile of like a floral perfume, cinnamon, and kind of wood mixture. And then a little bit further in, some cream kind of joined in to kind of balance that out a little bit. Retro was kind of like a wood note with a slight floral background to it. A little bit further in, that kind of perfume portion of the floral side dropped out. It was just a kind of a flowery type flavor rather than any kind of like a alcohol type perfume portion of it. And the cinnamon kind of started dropping out as well. Second, third, that floral note kind of really dropped out. It was wood moved up front, a little bit of char, very faint with that floral. A little bit further in, and some bitterness kind of joined in, which knocked out the floral note even more. Retrohale was really, wood with a little bit of floral note that was still remaining there. But the bitterness seemed to kind of keep picking up as the cigar was going along. In the final third, though, that bitterness eased up, and that charred wood kind of was still up front. A little bit of a kind of a toasty note joined in early on in the final third, and that kind of went over the retrohale as well. But as things started to finish up, it was heating up a little bit and brought a little mintiness to it. But overall, it was pretty much like a slightly above medium strength level as it got into the second and final thirds. Burn was really good. It's kind of to your point, Seth. I didn't have any issues that Jiunn had. A little bit wavy, but I never had to touch it up or anything like that. And in regards to the draw, I thought it was perfect. I had no issues with it whatsoever. So Jiunn, overall, what were your thoughts on this cigar?
I never thought I'd say this, but I liked a non-Cuban Montecristo. I really liked it. I mean, when we get to like the scores and stuff, I want to discuss a bit about how I liked it and how you guys did it. I liked it, man. I mean, I thought the flavors were pretty full, straight to the point. It was pretty focused. This is one of those cigars in which I feel like, okay, so I've only smoked one of these for review, but I like to smoke more of these to gauge consistency. So I want to do that first before I really say, hey, I should really go buy some of these. So.
How about you, Seth? What are your overall thoughts on it?
The fact that the cigar had epic and craft in its name and it smoked like this is just a total shame. I mean, it's almost as if like let's kind of make like a similar to a Davidoff Nicaragua and fail completely.
Right.
I mean, that's my opinion on it. It's just I think I saw where they wanted to go with it. I think the first third actually showed something really nice. It just didn't continue throughout. And if it had smoked the way it did in the first third throughout the entire cigar, and there wasn't any transitioning, it'd still be an enjoyable cigar. That'd be like, it's a good cigar. It's not overly complex. There's not a lot of transitioning, but it's a good smoke. But it's just gone downhill. And, I smoked another one today and it's just still doing the same thing. So it's, they try to do something cool, unique. I think they failed, but good for them for trying, I guess. No, so I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. I think there's a lot of better non-Cuban Montecristos out there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Seth in the fact that the first third was pretty good. I mean, I really enjoyed that floral note with like kind of cinnamon and the wood flavors to it. I mean, that was a pretty interesting combination that I don't, get all that often. But kind of early in that second third, I started getting the onset of some bitterness, and that kind of just kept building on as the cigar went. So, kind of to Seth's point, I mean, it started really well and then just kind of like fell off a cliff the rest of the way. I mean, I'm not one for like one note cigars, but if that would have done that first third through the whole way, it would have been a fairly enjoyable cigar, I think. But I had high hopes. They had this really aged wrapper on this cigar. I'd love to see if they could use this wrapper on something else that had some better underpinnings to it. Not just a good body on a crappy car kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, Jiunn obviously had a different experience than us. So, but you've smoked multiple Seth, so it's hard to tell if just an inconsistent cigar or what the case is. But good start, not so good finish. So getting to the scores, I like this how we get when we have the three people on the review and we have such wide ranges. I find it very interesting that but this is the whole game is that different cigars hit different people different ways. So we'll start with Jiunn. Jiunn is the best score, 682. I gave it a 6 even. Seth gave it a 5.13. So Jiunn, how do you think that matched up with your experience?
Matched well. I mean, when I think about a 6.82, I think it's something that's craft, something that's pretty epic. No, really though, it's a good cigar. I still got to go back to wanting to smoke more to gauge consistency. So right. Yeah. So but I mean, the version that I had, the single one that I had that we got, I thought was really good. I'd probably buy it. Given that, I'll buy some that are discounted.
Yep. How about you, Seth? You got matched up.
I just was, I was really disappointed in it. And, I remember when the Montecristo Epics first came out, and those were really good. And then they had the Epic #2s, and those were really good. And it's just like, I was like, okay, let's see what they do with this. But it just was really disappointing. I mean, it's why they thought they needed to do a Nicaraguan puro and why they thought they needed to go down to Nicaragua to do this. I mean, besides the fact that Altadas can't get their own factory set, we won't get into that. But it's just, I mean, I found it to be just really disappointing. I wouldn't tell anyone to do it. And it's one of these things I'm not going to be like, compared to a Cuban Montecristo, it's nothing because I don't want to go down that road. But it's just, I think it was just a complete bummer. I think if you want to smoke a Nicaraguan puro and you want it to be unique and different from what like Tetuai or My Father, go smoke a Davidoff Nicaragua. Because I mean, that's kind of in the same category as this. But it's better. I mean, the new EP Carrillo Encore is better than this. It's not as good as a Davidoff Nicaragua. There's another Nicaraguan puro that's just a little bit more unique. So just disappointed.
Yeah, my match as well. I mean, it was slightly above average flavor profile just because the first third was pretty good. Really good construction, so that helped it out. But that's what got it right to that 6th level. But yeah, I mean, the price point kind of jumps on top of that. So if you don't have a really good smoking experience, that price point's just not going to help you out at all. It's not going to make you want to go back to this cigar. So that's kind of what my feelings are on it. Any other final thoughts from you guys on this one?
I mean, we went from so overall it's kind of like my one of my gauge within the way we score, because we kind of use overall as, hey, overall, what do we think, all things considered, right?
Yeah.
So it went from me saying it's good to Aaron saying average to Seth saying subpar. I mean, it's such a wide gap, and I'm surprised by that because usually, especially with you, Seth, I'm pretty close to the same kind of cigars that you like. So this is interesting. I mean, I actually didn't know about the price point of the cigar until you just said it earlier, Aaron. At 15, like basically $16. That's a high premium to charge. So it's not a value cigar. Let's just say that. And when Seth says, "Hey, if you're gonna really do something like this, that's gonna be Nika, go to Davidoff Nicaragua," right? Like that to me is definitely worth that. What is it, $18+ that they charge you? This on a value wise, this on a value wise doesn't quite match for me. But nonetheless, I still stand behind within the single example that I smoked to be a good flavor cigar. So.
It's a pretty wrapper. I mean, it's a good. I wonder what the wrapper smokes like by itself. I wonder if it's like the blend or whatever it is. But the wrapper looks nice. I like the wrapper.
Yep, I'd agree with that. All right, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. We'll also check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Be sure to follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. You can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts. So iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.